Welcome in, I'm Artress, and in this video we're going to be going over Blue Purple Sanji, a new leader from OP12 that I think is actually pretty powerful, and we've seen at least show up in some tournaments at decent results. So I wanted to go over this because I think that the leader is very unique as far as how it plays. The deck list is very interesting, being mostly events, and there's a few things you could add in here and there. But before we go over the deck list and into any games, please make sure to hit that sub and like button. It helps out the channel so much. Thank you all for the support. Additionally, if you'd like to talk about the One Piece card game outside of the YouTube comments, make sure to join the Discord community. The link for that is in the description below. First off with Sanji, I think what's really interesting about him is that there's probably a multitude of different ways you can actually play this leader because of the fact that he is in blue and purple, which has a very strong card pool at the moment. So you have access to a lot of different things. There's many different ways to actually take the build. Because you are in both blue and purple, there are a multitude of different ways you can build it out, which I'll go over some of those things you could include at the end of the video. But let's go ahead and talk about the leader overall. His leader ability says activate main once per turn, Dawn -1, activate up to one Straw Hat Crew type event card from your hand with an original cost of 3 or less, and then when attacking, if the number of Dawn cards on your field is equal to or less than the number on your opponent's field, add up to one card from your Dawn deck and rest it. So ideally you are playing out some cheaper cards for only one Dawn, removing that Dawn from your Dawn field, but you're getting that Dawn right back. If you sequence it correctly, being able to use your first part of the leader effect by minusing Dawn and then swinging with your leader secondly to also get that Dawn right back means that you're just getting that event for free. So starting off, we are running one pudding. This is just a great way to be able to reset the opponent's hand. Sometimes they will build up a pretty big hand size over the course of a game, and pudding will really punish them for that. It's great into certain matchups like a Nell. So being able to have this in your arsenal is really good. Of course, you don't really have a great way of finding it, but with the amount of card draw that is in the deck, it's unlikely that you're not going to be able to come across this over the course of a game. Next up, we're running a playset of the new Pudding Searcher. It looks at the top 4 cards of the deck and grabs up to one Sanji or an event card and then add it to your hand. The event card can be any cost, by the way, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is going to help you find your key pieces to be able to build out your game plan. And that game plan is very simple. Find as many of these 3 cost Sanjis and place them onto the field. This is going to be your main character that you're hiding behind or at least playing with. It's a character that gains 1,000 power for every 5 events in your trash, and then if this character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, any effect, by the way, could be bottom decking, it could be trashing, it could be KOing, you may return one Dawn card from your Dawn deck instead. And this can happen multiple times over the course of a single turn. If your opponent removes it, you can use this effect as many times as you have Dawn available. So this card, as a result, is just going to stick on the field. Unless, of course, you turn it sideways, then that is when it is the most vulnerable. So you kind of want to build it up a little bit if you can, at least to 6,000 power before you start swinging, because, of course, swinging a 5,000 power character is very easy for the opponent to just jam into. So Sanji is very important for the deck. I will say you want to kind of hold on to it, at least like play it down early and then just sit with it on the field, not swing with it if you can. But if you do need to apply pressure, eventually you're going to have to swing with it. So getting multiple on the field is very important. Next up, we have a playset of a new blocker from OP12, a 4-cost 5,000 power Reiju that says if you have 4 or more events, this character gains plus 2,000 power and plus 5 cost. Very sticky because of the fact that it's very hard to remove. There's only a handful of cards that can actually touch this, whether it is, of course, Red Rock, or I think it's Slam Gibson, a new card that has come out in OP12 as well. It's basically a yellow event. I think it's only accessible to supernovas, so it is limited, of course, but outside of that, Reiju is going to be mostly sticky. It's going to stay on the field, and this is a great way to protect yourself, but also protect your Sanji characters, because it is pretty much at all points in the game 7,000 power, so if your opponent just swings base numbers at you, you can just block with this for free. Next up, I'm running a playset of the Sanji 2K counter. Now, some people might want to include Usohachi instead, but I do include this because it is searchable off of Pudding, because you can find Sanji, and as a result, you do need to be able to find some of your 2Ks, because as you probably see at the deck list, we are very short on counter. We only have in total 4 2K counters, and then outside of that, 9 1K counters, so we are very vulnerable for just like little poke swings, which is very unfortunate, but as a result, we are running a lot of counter events, and also our late game is pretty powerful to stay alive, especially at 1 or 0 life. But Sanji is going to be a 2K counter that I'm running, basically the only 2K counter in the deck, but because it's searchable, I think it's important to include. You could increase like the amount of 2K counters elsewhere and remove events, but as a result, I think that might hurt your game plan overall. We are including Sanji instead of like Usohachi, which I think Usohachi is the best purple 2K counter, but I think for the sake of this deck, Sanji fits a little bit better. Now, Now, a card that you might not include in your deck list, but one that I kind of like in mine, and maybe not at 4, but we're including it at 4 because I want to see it, is the blocker Katakuri. This card is just super annoying for a lot of people to deal with. Of course, being 8 cost is hard for a lot of decks to also answer. The fact that at the end of your turn, you can restand this, and it becomes very hard for your opponent to remove, of course, because they can't just swing into it and pressure you that way, makes it very powerful in my effect. And I like the addition of having another blocker that is going to be hard to get past, and you can use at any point in time to really just make it difficult for your opponent to go for lethal. So Katakuri is a great way. It's also just a great attacker, which we need more of outside of the Sanji. So Katakuri, as a result, is in the deck. As I mentioned, I'll go over some of the changes that you can make to the deck and some things that I've tested out, but I think Katakuri is a very interesting, and I like the addition to the deck overall. And then onto the events, we have quite a few. We have a playset of Let's Crash This Wedding. It is a 1-cost event that says if your leader is multicolored, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 Straw Hat Crew type card other than this card, and then put it into your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order, and then the triggers activate this card's main effect. So this will be able to grab a bunch of things that you might need depending on the situation you're in. Of course, you could grab your characters, you can also grab other events off of this, so this card is very useful. And then a new card from OP12, we're running a card called Concassier, which is a 1-cost main event that says if your leader is Sanji, draw 1 card, and then also has a counter that says if you have 4 or more events in your trash, up to one of your leaders gains plus 4,000 power during this battle. So pretty interesting overall, because you do have that dual utility here where you can either draw a card off of it, or if you need it for protection, you can hold on to it for that. And then next, we're running 2 Gum Gum Jet Culverins. This is a great way to have some removal into the deck. Of course, your opponent's going to be playing cards that are going to be 4 cost or less, and being able to answer those by putting them at the bottom of the deck is very nice. It's a Straw Hat Crew type card, so you can search it out, and you can also ideally use your leader ability to basically get this for free. So minusing a Dawn to play this card is very important, but because it is situational, only answering a 4-cost, sometimes at the later stages of the game, this is kind of a dead card, so we're only running 2 as a result. Next up, I'm running a playset of Buff Burst, which is a card from OP12 that says if your leader is multicolored, choose 1. Return up to one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 4 or less to the owner's hand, or if you have 6 or less cards in your hand, draw 2 cards. More often than not, I'm choosing the second mode just to get more cards in my hand, but you can use it to get a little bit of tempo and bounce an opponent's character back to their hand if you don't have a Jet Culverin, because I think this is the better of the 2 for removal, and this one is going to be your main way to draw cards. We're running 1 3,000 Worlds just to be able to answer any kind of 5-cost coming across our way. Unfortunately, we're not able to use our leader effect to play this for Dawn -1 because it is a 4-cost event, so it's just outside of the threshold, which is unfortunate. This would be perfect for the deck. Otherwise, I would include it more of if that was the case, but because we cannot do that, we're only including it as a 1. Your greatest tool for removal in the overall scheme of the deck is going to be Red Rock. Being able to answer anything for 6 Dawn is very nice. The trigger being able to bottom deck a 4-cost also is sometimes relevant, but mostly you're going to be using this to answer your opponent's big threats that they might throw down. And of course, this is a great way to gain tempo, especially if you already have the 3-cost Sanji on the field, because then at that point, your opponent's playing out a big character, you're removing that character, and then you have a bunch of little small chip swings coming their way the following turn. Next up, we're running 1 Jet Gatling, which is just a 0-cost event that can help ramp you if on the trigger comes out, but the thing here is you are running a lot of bricks, and as a result, you do need a way to pitch some of these to stay alive, and Gatling will help you do that. Of course, we're a Straw Hat Crew type leader in purple, so that means we are running a playset of Gum Gum Giant. Most people already know what this card does, but in case you don't, you Dawn -2 on the counter event, and then you pitch a card from hand, and then you draw 2, so you're going net neutral with this card, which is very powerful. Plus 4,000, of course, is great stat line there, and so this is going to be an auto include in any purple Straw Hat Crew type leader, and as a result, Sanji is a great way to do that with, so we're including it at 4 of. And then we're running a playset of another new card from OP12. Luffy is the man who will be the Pirate King. 1-cost event that says if your leader is Sanji, look at the top 3 cards of your deck and then put 1 card into your hand and place the rest to the bottom of your deck in any order. That can be any card, by the way. There's no cost stipulation for this, so you can grab anything you see on the top 3 cards of your deck. Because of this card, you actually have some very interesting deck building choices where you can play a lot more, like a higher cost amount of characters, because you can just search them out very easily with this. You can basically put anything into the deck and as a result find it with this card. So like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there's a lot of different ways you can build it. So this card really helps encourage that kind of deck building. I'm running 2 Judgment of Hell or Hell's Judgment. This is a 2-cost counter event. The main reason we're running this is because this is a great anti-green Zoro tool. Being able to minus 3,000 power for the turn to 2, either a leader or a character, or 2 characters is very nice. You can use this in other matchups, of course. Just the effect is very powerful, but this is going to be your main anti-green Zoro tech. And then I'm running 1 Brochette Blow. This is a 3-cost main event that says if the number of Dawn cards on your field is equal to or less than the number on your opponent's field, draw 1 card, then give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 3,000 power during this turn. So this is a great way to trade into a body that might be a little bit bigger than you would like. You don't have the removal like the Red Rock readily available, and this will help you trade into that with some of your characters. Overall, this deck is very interesting. I think I am enjoying how Bandai's kind of building out some of these in-between sets with these unique effects, unique leaders. If you've ever played Magic the Gathering, more specifically Commander, this almost feels a little bit like a Voltron deck because you are only sitting behind your leader and then maybe like this character overall. Of course, adding in the Katakuri helps make you have a couple more attackers available, but the main thing is you're sitting behind this card and of course your leader swing. And so as a result, you're kind of playing more of a defensive game, and I think your only really win condition is swinging with your leader and also this Sanji. So that is the reason why I compare it to Voltron. Very interesting mechanics, but overall, let's take it into the sim and see how it does. Going against Rayleigh is going to be an interesting matchup here. I think that they took second, which they ideally would like. I do like this hand because we have a search. We can grab a Sanji, and then with the Sanji, we can play this down immediately, and then also have Buff Burst or the Jet Culverin, depending on what they do this next turn. I think it's better to save the Jet Culverin for probably when they play the 4-cost Luffy, and then hold on to that card for that turn. Kid Killer is also a good reason to hold on to it as well. Let's go ahead and just play out the Sanji, Dawn -1, draw 2, and then swing with our leader to get that Dawn right back. We are able to see a Hell's Judgment and a Gum Gum Giant, so at least we have some decent late game counter power, and we have a couple of these Katakuris in hand for once we hit 8, although going first is a little bit more awkward to hit that because we're not able to like really ramp naturally. It's not really what our deck does, so having Katakuri be a great second Dawn turn, or going second 8 Dawn turn, is really what we want to see there. Swinging 6. We could have countered out with a 2K, but I think we want to hold on to that 2K here. Let's go ahead and just draw with the 1-cost event. We'll go ahead and play the Raise You blocker, getting rid of the Luffy with the Concussor, or the Culverin rather, as I mentioned. Swing 5, get the 1K back, or the 1 Dawn back rather. And then here they just counter out, which is what we like to see. We don't want them to take all these hits. We're swinging purely just to get our Dawn back. But if they're countering out in the process, that's really good for us. It makes it easier for us to attack into their board. And now that we have this Reiju online with the plus 2,000 power, plus 5, I think that's really good for us because it might mean we could block something for free. We'll have to see though. With this 8K coming our way, I think we just take it, which means that they might play the Kid and Killer, which could be really annoying because that means they have a 7K attack coming our way. Which that sucks. We take that one, and then if they want to swing 7 with their leader here, I think we block and give them a 1K. I think it's going to be our best bet. Oh, they don't even do that. Okay, so they just block. They swing 6. We just block that one with 7, and then I think what we could do here, we're in a little bit of a pickle. I think what we just search out with the pudding, see what we get. I think Jet Culverin's pretty good here. What we can do is we can swing 5 into. I think we get rid of the Kid and Killer. We'll swing 5 into the Sanji, ramp up 1, and then what we can do is we can actually swing out with this other Sanji as well. Oh, they're protecting it with Conqueror's Hockey. Okay, makes sense. That's fine. I think what we'll do is we'll swing 5 into it then. I don't mind getting rid of the body on board instead of swinging at life. We'll swing 6 at with our blocker, and then we'll play out at the other blocker. So we're playing a little bit of aggressive route as a result. And this next turn, what we can do is we can play out the Katakuri, and then have all of these big blockers and blockers that are great attackers at that as well. So let's see what they do though, because sometimes like you're incentivized to get rid of the Sanji, but I think with the Rayleigh, if they have like the unblockable event, I would probably just use it right now. Use the unblockable, get me to 0, and then if they have a second unblockable, they could go for the game the next turn. But that is a little bit risky because of the fact that I do run a lot of counter event, so that's up to them though. I'm not the one to decide that. Here, we hope that they don't have another rush unit, like another Kid Killer, because it's going to be really awkward. I want to use my Hell's Judgment, and I don't even need to at this point. Okay, so they're going to play out the Luffy, cheat out another Sanji. How come when I play Rayleigh, I never see Luffy Sanji? It's always, opponent always sees it. Unlucky. Anyway, so they might be swinging pretty big with their leader here. Swinging 8 means we can just block 2K. Perfect. Exactly what we want to do there. Block 2k. And then we can pass the turn. Now, oh gosh, we've seen too many Katakuris. A reason maybe not to run so many, but we do need to get this out of our hand. So let's go ahead, just get it out of our hand. And then what we'll do is we'll swing 5 into lead. We're not able to use our leader ability to draw or get a Dawn because we're not minusing Dawn. We'll get the Dawn back anyway with the Katakuri. We'll ramp up to 10. Go 5 lead, they counter out. We'll go 6. And I think we just want to keep our blockers up this next turn because they have... We might be able to swing 1 Reiju, I think. Swinging 1 Reiju might be worth it. Getting them to 2 Dawn. We'll pass the turn from there. I think that's... Like, if they took that 1 hit with the Sanji, we didn't need to swing the Reiju, but I want to get them within a range of potential lethal for this next turn, because I think that they're going to try to push forward for it this next turn. Oh, Mulgun is going to be really good to get rid of our Reiju blocker. Maybe a reason to hold back the other one, but... I think it's okay. We should be okay, I think. I hope. We'll find out. We have a block which likely will go through. They'll be able to block 1 of their attacks. We have Gum Gum Giant to survive. And we have a 2k. So I think that's good enough, right? We'll have to see what they do with their Dawn. This is where it gets a little bit tricky for Rayleigh, being able to divvy out their Dawn where they might need to push through, especially with an AK blocker, which is why Katakuri is so good in these situations, because it's just a free block, and they do reveal that they have an unblockable event. So the question becomes, do we think that we can survive? Okay, well, let's go ahead and just use our Gum Gum Giant because it's free. We'll get rid of the Katakuri there. We're able to draw into at least 1 more 1k, which is really nice to see. And then here, we might be able to just block with one of them. Okay, 6 into 6, they're going for board. We'll give them a 1k. And then we'll see what they do with this last one. 7 into 6, we'll just do a free block. And then they leave 3 open. For Zoro, they were probably baiting out the blocks so they could get a 5 in. Makes a lot of sense. We'll give them a 2k here. And we might be able to... Will we be able to pressure? I think playing a Red Rock might be better here, just to clear the board and guarantee we might be able to survive 1 more turn. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. I think we put 1 on the Sanji, swing 7 into 5, see if we can get this. Yeah, they don't want to give us any counter. That's fine. We'll go 8 into 6, see if they will let this go. They want to protect it. Okay, so a 0 cost event plus a 1. We know the last card in their hand is a 2k counter or the unblockable event, whatever they choose to do. We're going to go 6 into 6 and see if they give us that. And then here what we can do is we can go pudding. We could play this. It gets tricky. Let's go swing the pudding into the Sanji. Just see if we can get this last card off. And then I think what we do is we play out the Sanji just to get 1 more attacker down. Restand the Katakuri. So we have 2 blockers, a Hell's Judgment, and a 2k in hand. I think we might be able to push through if that's the case. It'll be tight, but we have to at least block the buggy. They have double blocker. If they want to, if they really, really want to, they could put all on their leader and just swing in and then do it again. But that means that they'd have to survive the crackback, which I don't think they'd be able to do. Let's see what they do. I wonder what that last card is. It might be, it could be Kid. Oh, is it a Kid Killer? Actually, they already played one, I believe. So interesting. Okay, so they're going to swing 9 into lead. I'm going to block and then Hell's Judgment and then see what they do here. Okay, so they're just going to go all in with their leader and pressure face. I think we just block 2k. One of the reasons why these blockers are so good, so efficient. Okay, so here we can just push for game. I think what we do is we start off with a 7. Is playing the Red Rock going to get us there to higher Dawn count? It's not, so let's just go ahead and swing 7 with one of the Sanjis, which means they give us 2 cards, or we can just guarantee math at that point, basically. 9 into lead here. And then we can put the rest on this Reiju and close out the game. So we were thankfully able to hold on to the blockers we had to push for lethal. One of the reasons why this Reiju and also the Katakuri are so good. All right, into Jinbe, a leader I respect. So here, I think this hand is not great. We don't want to have 2 Katakuris in the opening hand. It is a good card, but we don't want to see 2 of them. But we are going second, so maybe holding on to 1 would have been fine. We'll go ahead and grab his Sanji off the bat. Sanji's probably not going to be able to stay on the field because they have many ways to rest units and then swing into them that same turn. So I am going to play the Sanji, but I fully expect it to go down. And as a result, I think it's probably worth swinging with the Sanji no matter what. They have Noah's Ark in their deck. Very, very interesting to see. They swing 7 into lead here. We'll go ahead and take it. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and play out... Yeah, we'll play out this event, see what we can grab. Buff Burst is perfect here. What we can do is then play the Sanji out, so we're going to be at 7 in hand, and then use the Buff Burst with our leader effect to go down to 6 and then draw 2. So really good to see here. Really nice sequencing, and then also being able to just draw efficiently. Really good. Swinging 5 into 5 is going to be kind of annoying for them. They probably want to counter out of this one so that they're able to at least get their leader ability off. Oh, they have Vagabond Drill. I didn't consider that, but I think in order for us to sequence it, it would have been fine the way we did it. They do swing 9 into 5 here. It is what it is. We have to just let it go. Maybe I said it was good sequencing, but because I had Vagabond Drill and I forgot about that card, it's not good sequencing. We ended up losing our Sanji because we played it down before we swung. We probably could have been fine without doing it, but that meant we wouldn't have been able to get the buff burst because we would have been at 8 cards, I believe, at that point. So, oh well. We'll swing 5 into the Shirahoshi, and then what we'll do is we'll play out the pudding, grab a Hell's Judgment, and I think we actually just play out a pudding because they have 7 cards in hand. I know it's not the best use of our turn. We don't have anything really else to play, so at least minimizing or like cutting down their hand size a little bit is going to help us. But it's not great. They just swing 8. Wow, they're going really hard here. We'll just take it. Go down to 2. They play an Arlong. Are they going to use the Arlong effect and go down to 4? I don't think they would want to. Okay, they're not going to, and that's great for us. We're going to go ahead and just play out the Katakuri here. We'll play Katakuri, and then what we'll do is we'll play out the Culverin with our leader ability, and then swing 5, get that Dawn right back. What's really interesting here is that we can actually swing with the pudding in the next turn or two, and then restand it with our Katakuri, because it is a Big Mom Pirates type character. So I think that's something that maybe people don't think about too often, but we can actually swing with the pudding. Okay, they play Fisher Tiger to rest the Katakuri blocker, and they're going at face, which is really scary. They're just aggressively pushing. They have 5 life still, and they're pushing face, which is really scary to see. Let's go ahead and just see what we can get off the top 3. Actually, let's play out... Yeah, that's fine. This is fine. We'll do this and see what we can get. Okay, we'll grab a Concussier, and then what we'll do is we'll... I think we just bottom deck the Fisher Tiger. I think that's probably fine. We'll swing 5 with the pudding. And then what we'll do is we'll use our leader ability, and then we'll draw a card off of this, and then we'll swing 5, get the Dawn right back. They're countering out hard. This is like really terrifying, the fact that they're just like not taking life, making it harder for us to close out the game, and also swinging really big. Okay, let's see what they have here. I'm expecting like a, well, Fisher Tiger wasn't expecting, but we'll give him a 2K for this attack. I was expecting like maybe a Hody Jones. So they have a Tashigi, which that's fine, not a big deal here. We're not really bottom decking anything else, not really a problem. What we can end up doing is, I think we have so many Gum Gum Giants that it might not be worth playing out the... I don't know, is it worth playing out? I think it's not. We'll just swing 5 with the pudding. I think we just hold on to the other Katakuri in hand. We play out the Reiju blocker as a result. They did take that 5, so maybe they take a 7 with our leader. And then what we can do is we can swing 8 with the Katakuri, and we can just swing 9 with the Katakuri here, and then play out the Reiju, and then leave open 2, restanding the pudding and the Katakuri, and we'll have enough Dawn, hopefully, if they do play something like a Hody Jones. For instance, if they're wanting to rest the Hody, or if they're playing the Hody Jones, they want to rest the blockers, or they have to rest the Dawn. It's a really difficult decision for them to make. If they rest the blockers, we have Dawn open for Gum Gum Giant or Hell's Judgment. If they rest the Dawn, then we have the blockers open as well. So I think we're in a pretty good spot here, establishing the double blocker and then having 2 Dawn open. It's a really difficult turn for them. And yeah, it looks like they could have played Noah's Ark and like bypassed it, but Noah's Ark being the last life is also pretty scary too. They could have played another Fisher Tiger and gone really hard, but yeah, they didn't have Hody Jones, so we got a little bit lucky there, them not seeing that. All right, going against Belo Betty here. They choose to go first. I like this hand because of the fact that I have a way to draw. I have a 2K, I have a Searcher, I have 3-cost Sanji, 4-cost blocker Reiju. Really nice tier to see. We'll grab the Culverin because this is really good for this matchup, being able to bottom deck their stuff, and then we're just going to get a draw off with the Concussier and then pass the turn here. I think they probably just swing like either 8 or they go like 5-5. I don't think they pitch to swing with their Belo Betty Searcher just yet. I'm not entirely sure. Like there's a couple of ways they could have go about this, but I think, yeah, probably just 8's fine. We'll take the 8, go down to 3 life. This turn, what we'll do is we'll just play out the Sanji, We'll play out the pudding first and see what we can get off of this. Okay, we get another Sanji, which is nice to see. We can flood the board in a second. We'll go ahead and use the leader ability to draw with the buff burst and then pass the turn after we swing 5. We have a pretty decent hand right now. We have a couple 2Ks, which is nice to see. I am happy anytime I have any kind of 2K in hand. And then what we'll do is this next turn, play out the Sanji, use the Jet Culverin, and then hopefully get a damage in. They decide to counter out. Very interesting to see that. Okay. Here, they have a couple of good plays they can make. Ivankov is definitely one of them. I was going to say the 5-cost Ivankov is also a pretty good play to make as well. If they go too wide, we do have options to get rid of their board. So they're probably going to be... Oh, Karasu's definitely the prime target for Culverin here. So what we're going to end up doing is we'll counter out of this first attack, and then we'll take this second one from their leader. And then I think what we do is we just swing 2 into 2. We'll go... Are they thinking about countering out of this one? They do. Oh my gosh. Interestingly enough. Grab a 2K. Love to see 2Ks here. We're going to swing 5 into 2. And then I think what we can do is we have a couple plays. We can play the 1-cost event, see what we get off of that first. Get a Jet Culverin's really nice here. We have Fordon open to be able to play this Reiju, but I think we could also just go ahead and use the event to bottom deck. The Karasu is going to be our prime target here. Getting rid of that. We'll swing 5 into lead, gaining a Dawn in the process, and then playing out the Vinsmoke Reiju blocker, which is now a 7K blocker, and our 3-cost Sanji is now 6K. So very nice to see this small progression over the course of just 4 turns. But I think what we really have to worry about is how wide do they go this turn? Very wide, it looks like. They're playing Koala to cheat out a Karasu, and then they're going to use their leader ability to be able to cheat out something with the Ivankov being at 7K power. So this is going to be a very hard turn for us. They're probably going to swing 6 and then 8. It depends on how they sequence it, because we might need to block with the Reiju blocker. Oh my god. They have another Karasu. Yikes. Okay, so they're going really wide and scarily wide. They've seen 3 Karasu over the course of this couple turns that they've seen, and they haven't really even searched that much, is what's really interesting. They've gotten 1 search off. 8 into 3, we'll just take that one. And then if they go 6 into lead, we'll just block with the Reiju blocker. Good reason we threw it down this previous turn. And then here, what we can end up doing... I think we pressure the Ivankov with the 6K swing first. They counter out. I think what we can end up doing is swinging 6 with our leader. They counter out. Okay. We'll just swing 7 into it. See if they let it go. Will they block this one? I don't think they... I mean, they might. Koala is just a pretty good card in general. They just... Okay, they want to be able to cheat out a body, apparently. Interestingly enough, we'll go ahead and Dawn -1, get rid of the... both of the... Karasu's and pass the turn. A little bit of missequencing instead of like, we could have done that first, but I wanted to see how they reacted, because if we did it where we swung our leader last, then we would have been able to get 1 more Dawn as a result, but I don't think it's that big of a deal that we're down 1 Dawn. Here I think they might just be trying to go for game, close out the game with an 11K attack, and then Hell's Judgment, we'll go ahead and use the effect so that they're not swinging 11, they're going to be swinging 10 here. Doesn't matter, we had counter regardless, but just something to note that you can do with this Hell's Judgment. Pretty nice effect at times. We'll go ahead and counter out with a Gum Gum Giant, pitching, and then give it 2K. And then from here, it's just basic math. We'll go 5, 7, and then 9. And they didn't have any counters to be able to stay alive. So Glass Cannon, Belo Betty, live and die by the sword. All right, GP Luffy's going to be a very difficult matchup, I believe, just because his deck is so good. I think I like this hand, though, because we have a couple of searches. We have a pudding as well, which can really hurt them. And I think what we can do this next turn is we can actually play out Buff Burst from our hand and then use our leader ability to play out the other one and get a total of 4 cards drawn over the course of that turn. So just digging really deep into the deck is really nice, even if it means like we're not establishing a body this next turn, which I think is okay. We don't need to establish a 3-cost Sanji on curve. Usually it's better to hold on to those later once you have already put out a bunch of events, but I think if you can, like if you have it to play, I think it's fine to play out. But like I said, what we'll do is we'll end up just playing this out from our hand outright, using our leader ability to get the other one for basically free, and then swinging in, getting that Dawn back. Something to note about this deck against GP Luffy, your leader ability sometimes just won't proc because GP Luffy is going to be at low Dawn total, so you're going to actually be at a higher Dawn total than them a lot of the time. So let's go ahead and just do the Buff Burst, draw 2. Red Rock's really nice to see, being able to answer their Sanji and Pudding, and then we'll draw another 2, and then swing in, get that Dawn back, and hopefully they take this hit. We have a lot of cards in hand, a lot of counter events. And we do have a Gum Gum Giant, nice to see. I think this next turn what we can do is we can play either 1-cost event, then play out the Vinsmoke Reiju, then use our leader ability to probably play another 1-cost event, or maybe we'll play it a little bit differently depending on what we draw or what we get from life. It might be worth putting out a 3-cost Sanji if we do get it this next turn. I do like 3-cost Sanji earlier. I know I just said that sometimes it's better to play it late, but having it there just as a potential threat is sometimes nice as well. Having 8 cards in hand might also be a good pudding turn, but I don't know if I want to do pudding this early in the game. We'll go ahead and take this one, and let's just go ahead and get rid of this Frankie. We'll punish them because of the fact that they already have stage out. I think 3,000 Worlds is not going to be really good for the Sanji and pudding turn. So let's go ahead and play this crash. Let's crash this wedding, grabbing a Gum Gum Giant, and then we'll go ahead and play the other event here to see what we can get off the top, grabbing a Sanji 2K, and then we'll play out the Sanji here. We'll go ahead and Dawn -1, play a Concassier, and then go ahead and draw or get that Dawn back with our leader swing. This is going to be nice for if they do play out a Zoro Juro. The Culverin's pretty good here. We could, in this next turn, ideally for them, they play out Sanji Pudding into Zoro Juro. And if that's the case, we could go Gum Gum Red Rock into Culverin. And if that is our turn, I think that's pretty solid. Even if it means we don't get a good swing off with our leader, we might want to pressure them with the Sanji. Because usually GP Luffy wants to swing into life anyway. They want to be more the aggressor instead of having to answer the board. But if they want to get this Sanji off the field, they're going to have to swing into it. There's no other way for them to really get rid of it. Now, because they took that hit, I actually really am incentivized to play the pudding this next turn, especially since they're at 2 life. But it depends on what they play out this turn as well. Because if they play something like Sanji and pudding and then Zoro Juro, and they're basically just going even with their hand, it's really worth it. They're playing out the Zoro that rests this Sanji. Is it? I mean, maybe they find it to be threatening enough. I don't know. Because to be honest, like Sanji's only threat is this 3-cost Sanji. Little do they know that I'm running Katakuris, but yeah, I think that's something to note. Okay, so because they did, like, we want to use the pudding on a turn where maybe they go like even in hand size. They did go down 1, which is kind of annoying. Oh, do we protect this? I think we do. I think we protect it, give it 2K, and see what they do with the other 2 Dawn. If they attach the other 2 and swing 8 into it. Could be a little bit awkward. I don't know. Let's see what they do. We kind of have to force them. Okay, they're swinging 6 into lead. I am perfectly happy with this. All right, so I think what we end up doing is we play the 1-cost event. I think we can consider the Reiju this turn. Maybe we can grab a second one. Grabbing a second one's not awful. The Brochette Blow is not bad either because it's good to trade into Sanji and Pudding, but that means they've already swung with it if that's the case. Let's play out the Reiju, and then I think what we do is we use our leader ability to play out the Jet Culverin and then swing 6 into lead here. As I mentioned, we're not able to get that Dawn back because of the fact that they are lower Dawn than us. Kind of one of the weird ways to interact with this deck is you don't get your leader ability because of GP Luffy's going to be lower Dawn usually. And we're going to poke him for 6s. I think 6 is fine here. And using the Jet Culverin there, I think is fine because of the fact that, well, we didn't really have any other good play to make. And we might as well use it now while we have a target. And then we'll swing 6 into lead here. Because they gave us a 1-cost event as a counter, it's kind of telling that they might not have a good hand. Which, at that point, Pudding might not even be good because if they haven't played Sanji and Pudding by this turn, there's a chance that playing Pudding, okay, well, they play it, but if they didn't play it, then playing Pudding means that they have a better shot of seeing it, which we don't want to give them. I think that they just played the Zoro the last turn because they wanted to get rid of the Sanji, but it didn't work out for them. I think if I were them, though, I probably would have swung 8 into the Sanji afterwards just to try to get it off the field. But I think that they were more worried about us pushing their life total instead, which may speak to the fact that they don't have a lot of cards in hand with counter. All right, here they're going to go 7 into lead. I think we can just block. I think we block. And I'm trying to think about which 1K to give. I think the blocker 1K is fine to give here. I don't want to give the Pudding just yet because Pudding could be good. Oh, Electrical Luna. Interesting. That's a good answer to the Sanji. I think what we can do here is we could play Katakuri, but I think it's better to just answer the Sanji and Pudding, use the Red Rock. We'll go ahead and then just draw 1 with our leader ability and then swing 6 into lead. They are tapped out, so it might be worth swinging like 8 with our Reiju blocker. We could also just swing 7 with it as well. Kind of be annoying. 7's kind of an annoying number as well. Giving a 2K is not something that they always have. Let's see what they do with this 6 swing first, though. If they go and give us a 2K, we might want to swing 8 with the Reiju. If they give us a 1K, we might want to swing 7 with the Reiju. We might not even want to swing with the Reiju at all. Do we want to swing with the Reiju? They give us a 1K. I think it's fine. I think it's fine to pressure them here. They are tapped out, so I think it's fine to go ahead and do that. See what they give us here. This will give us more answers than anything else, because if they give us a 2K, then it's like, okay, cool. You have counter in hand. If they give us 2 1Ks, they're very telling, and if they take, I think it's even more telling. They take, okay, wow. That means they might not be very strong in hand as far as just like counter goes in general. They might have like counter events, which means they might have to leave open Dawn this next turn. So another Sanji and Pudding, as expected, comes down. And do we play out our Katakuri? I think we might. I think Katakuri is a pretty good card into this matchup. And I was considering it last turn. The reason I didn't play it last turn, though, is because I wanted to answer that first Sanji and Pudding that they threw down. But because we don't have an answer to this one, unless we draw into it, of course. But if we don't draw into an answer to the Sanji and Pudding, I think playing out the Katakuri this next turn is fine. All right, just swinging a 6 in a lead here. We'll give them a 2K. And then I wonder what they have for the other 5 Dawn. Oh, they're swinging with the Nami. Okay, I think we just have to give them the Pudding here. I don't want to go down to 1 because going down to 1 is really scary against this deck, especially if they have the 6-cost restand Luffy, which usually they do. So let's go ahead and swing 7 into lead here. And then maybe another 7 with the Reiju. We could possibly get... I mean, we want to see Gum Gum Giant out of their hand right now because Gum Gum Giant means that they are not going to have the full amount of Dawn for this next turn to be able to play out the 6-cost Luffy. Okay, so we're going to go just play the Katakuri out and then pass the turn from here. And then what we will have is 1 open for Gum Gum Giant. And if they play out the 6-cost restand Luffy, I think we might be able to survive. We'll have to see. It's going to be a close one. We'll just have to see what they do here, though. Okay, so it's another Sanji and Pudding coming down. They have seen 3 of them over the course of the game so far, which, you know, that's pretty typical. I think that if you don't see 4 Sanji and Puddings as GP Luffy, are you even playing GP Luffy correctly? So that being said, what do we do this next turn? It just depends on what they have for this turn specifically, how they swing out. I think no matter what, we're going to try to stay at 1 life if possible. We don't want to go down to 0. And if we can stay at 2, obviously, that's going to be really good for us. But I think it might be a little bit difficult to do that, depending on what they do here. Okay, so Zoro Juro is a great target for our Jet Culverin, so we are going to be hopefully getting rid of that. The 0-cost event is what they grabbed with this. Really good to see that we have that knowledge for this turn. Okay, since they're swinging 6, we just block with a 7. And let's see what they do with the Sanji and Pudding. Maybe they don't even swing it. They don't even swing it because they think they need the Dawn open for counter events here. Okay, so let's go ahead and just play out this 1-cost event, see what we can get off the top. Buff Burst is pretty nice here. I think we can do a couple things. We can use our leader ability here. We can just play out the Buff Burst from hand, draw 2 cards. That's pretty good. And then, we could Red Rock and then also use our leader ability, but I don't think we want to do that. I think we want to leave open Dawn for Giant. Grabbing another Giant, of course, is great here. Let's go ahead and use our leader ability to bottom deck this Zoro Juro. And then what we'll do is we'll swing 6 with our leader, just poking him down. And I think we swing 7 or 8. I think 8's better here. 8's just usually typically a better number against Luffy anyway. So let's go ahead and swing 8 with the Sanji and also 8 with the Katakuri. We probably are going to leave the Reiju up just as a defense measure, because this next turn we don't have any counter other than the 3 Giants in our hand. So that's something to note. Okay, they give us the 0-cost event. Should have seen that coming, but I'm trying to bait out a Gum Gum Giant, of course. Okay, so they do have, it's Dead Man's Game coming out of their hand, which is good to see. They've already spent 1. Actually, they've spent 2, meaning that they have less chances to rest our blockers or Dawn. So pretty good overall. And here, what we hope to happen is they swing numbers where we're able to at least counter out with our Gum Gum Giants. They play out the Zoro that rests a unit, but I think they're trying to get maybe like another unit to rush out. And them using any kind of 4-cost either character or event with 2 Sanji and Puddings on the field means that it's free anyway, so I think it's fine. So they might just be using this to pressure. Okay, they are using it to pressure the Sanji character. We're just going to block with the Katakuri because it's free, and if that means that they're baiting that block to come out so that they can swing at lead, well, I've got another story for you, buddy. Here, I think we go ahead and we might just... Do we take this one? No, we block. We block this one, and then we just have them use their Sanji and Puddings to go for a face, because it looks like they're trying to go for face here. And if they have a 6-cost restand Luffy, I think we are able to pull it out. I think we are. This is really difficult for them to be able to do this. Okay, they're going to go 10 at lead. Sure, we'll take it. We'll use the Crash This Wedding, and we'll grab a 2K off of it. And then here, they might want to swing, like, I don't know, another 10. And then leave 2 open. But I think that it's, with 3 cards in hand, it's pretty much... It's not pretty much game, but I feel like we could probably just push for game at that point. We have a bunch of different options, at least. 7? Okay. We'll just go ahead and use Gum Gum Giant, pitching out the Katakuri, and then see what they do with the remaining 5. They leave 5 open. What do they have? Okay, well... okay, so I think what we just do is we swing with the 5 open. We just swing 8. We'll swing 8 first, see what they do. We could swing 10 here, but I think 8's probably just... with 3 cards in hand, like... They have to give us, like, maybe a Gum Gum Giant, which is fine for us. They have to give us, like, another Dead Man's Game, which is even better for us, because it means they're not resting anything. Okay, so it is Gum Gum Giant number 1 out of their hand. They've already played one before, but... I think they played one before. I don't know. I can't remember at this point in the game. We'll go another 8. Another Gum Gum Giant, okay. So they are leaving all this Dawn up. They're doing it a little bit incorrectly. They should be using the Dawn underneath the attached characters. So instead of minusing the active Dawn here. But because we aren't able to really push for game, I think what we do is we just use the Red Rock here. Well, let's see what we do. We'll swing 5. Yeah, let's swing 5 into the Zoro. See if they let it go. Do they need this to go for game? Okay. And then we'll go ahead and use the Gum Gum Red Rock, and then we'll pass the turn, restanding the Katakuri. And we have 3 counter events and a 2K counter. And we have 2 pitchable targets for the Gum Gum Giant and 1 life, 2 blockers. We're in a pretty good spot here where it's going to be really difficult for them to come back, or at least push through. Going Merry into Going Merry. There he is. Okay. So they finally got it. And here they're going to probably swing like 7, 7, 7 would be my guess. But it's not going to be enough because of the fact that I have all of these counter events. And these 2 blockers are really just pushing it, like making it really difficult for them to push through. This Reiju being 7, and then of course a Katakuri just being 8. So annoying. We'll block this first 7 with the Katakuri. And that means they have to go like 7, 7, 7. One of them is going to get blocked, and then one of them could go through, and that means that I'd have to not have any kind of counter events at this point, and I think they realize it's pretty much all she wrote. Yeah, that was, I mean, the blockers just really pulled through in that game. Having a 7K blocker and an 8K blocker is just too good at times. I gotta say, this deck is like not for the faint of heart. It actually adds like a whole lot of stress when playing this deck, specifically because of the fact that you don't have counter. Maybe it's the way that I've built it out. Maybe it's just kind of like the way that it's standardly built. You're running low on counter anyway. And so it feels awful to pitch the 1Ks. So maybe you would want to change up the ratios of the counter you have in your deck overall. Of course, you do have blockers to help alleviate some of that pressure, and you have a lot of great late game counter events. But the early to mid game is just really rough with this deck, as you could probably see in some of the games. But I think with cards like Buff Burst or even like Jet Culverin, being able to answer some of the opponent's threats early to mid can be useful. Overall, I'm not really sure where I land on this leader, but of course there's plenty of ways to build it out. And I think if you're wanting to stick to more of the event heavy build, there's a couple of other things you might want to include. I have seen a couple of builds that are running Luffy, like the Beer Luffy, if we can find it really fast. This 6-cost Luffy is pretty good here. Being able to Dawn -2 and then make your leader tanky as well is pretty powerful. You also might want to include this Luffy as a result as maybe a great way to close out the game. Could be an interesting addition. I've also tried to include or thought about making this more viable in the deck, the 7-cost Kid. adding 1,000 power to your leader until the end of the turn can make you tanky enough without having to don -2 every turn with the Beer Luffy, and you're getting that don right back with your leader ability. So that could be something worth putting into the deck. Of course, I think Katakuri kind of just does a little bit better overall with being a good attacker and then also a better defense unit. But I think that this is probably worth looking into as well. And then the other addition that I was thinking about that I've been testing out is 9-cost Big Mom. And I think the reason, it's Lin Lin, not Big Mom, I guess, in the sim. The reason for this is because of the fact that Blue Purple Luffy had these pair band, both the Katakuri and the Lin Lin. So there's a reason for that because it's just really powerful in that deck, but I think it's just a good card overall, and you have access to it right now. And you could include this because of the fact that you have ways to get rid of 4 cost. You have one way to get rid of a 5 cost. You have the red rocks to get rid of anything. To fill in the gap to get the 6 cost out of the way, you could include Lin Lin. You might also want to include Mihawk, 9-cost Mihawk, if you want to go more of a removal route overall, getting rid of 7 costs. So you can cover that whole range of different things as well. So as you can see, this leader can be built a bunch of different ways. Kind of like with Reiju, of course. Reiju is more of the Vinsmoke family archetype, but there have been builds where, because of the fact that her leader ability is just Don -1 draw card, is just generically good, that you could build it different ways that way. So it's kind of the same effect with the Sanji. The first part of the effect you definitely have to build with the Straw Hat Crew type cards in mind, but the second half, being able to get that Dawn back when you're just attacking, is just a generically decent effect, and so as a result you can include a bunch of different stuff. But that being said, what do you think about Blue Purple Sanji overall? What have you included in your build? Is there anything spicy that I might have missed? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.